Welcome to our Building Blocks call every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you are also promoting and inviting people onto this call. Guaranteed to give you specific building blocks for your success and whatever it is that you're pursuing, that you're wanting to evolve and become on this journey of life. And I wanted to talk to you about doing the impossible and what happens when you have a really big dream. What happens when you have a really big dream and the power of that. And I want to give you some specific examples and give you the levels and dynamics to it. So first and foremost, how many of you have a dream that is burning white hot in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, and you can't shake it? Like whether you're late at night, early in the morning, in the middle of the day, you just can't shake it. You are completely obsessed and immersed in the fulfillment and the realization of this dream. Fantastic. So that's number one. A lot of people have not only forgotten how to dream, they've taken whatever dream they had and they've shelved it. They put it somewhere where they can't even, not only because they can't see it, right? So they put it on a shelf that's out of their spiritual view. And so they don't even look at it anymore. I'm talking about like the shelf of your mind. They don't even look at it. Out of sight, out of mind. So they don't even know what it's like to even have a dream, let alone have the boldness to pursue one. Having a conversation today with a gentleman who called himself a chef. And he said, Ed, I've been doing this for 30 years. And he said, man, if I could go back and do some things differently, I would do this, this, and this. And I said, well, what is your focus moving forward? What is it that you want to do? And he was so immersed in the pattern of survival and doing what he knows how to do, it never even occurred to him to dare to think beyond his current circumstances. So in other words, he's resigned himself that for the rest of his life, this is what it's going to be. Here's his income, here's his impact as a chef, here's his level as a chef, and it's not going to deviate until he retires. And he was bemoaning where he was on this journey, okay? Now, why is that? Well, because somewhere along the line, when he got that initial taste of realization, success, whatever you want to call it, he stopped dreaming, he stopped reaching, he stopped stretching, and he habituated this bare minimal existence of doing what he's good at, but doing it just enough to get by. Because here he is 30 years later telling me he's still getting by. Now that's crazy. That's crazy. Can you imagine doing one thing that you consider yourself to be, this is your domain, this is what you've mastered, and you've done it to the point of this is it, like, and you're still only able to get by after 30 years. Unfortunately, that is more common than it is a rarity. So the first thing is, do I even have a dream? Have I given myself permission to explore different possibilities for a dream that I want? That's number one. I want you to ask yourself this question. Sit with it if you don't have an answer, and you sit with it until you do. What is it that if I could, is my dream, I can create my life as I see fit? And this is one thing that's really important for me to realize. If I could have it any way I want, here's what I want. Okay, so that's number one. Giving yourself the permission to set a dream that is unique to you. Not what you see on reality television or fake television. Not what you see on social media. Not what somebody else is portraying, because you don't even know if that's real or not. What is the thing for you? Like, if I could have my life any way that I want. So example, and some of you have heard this, me tell this a million times, but it's so powerful, and I was really breaking it down. So think about this, because it has nothing to do with your current circumstances, has nothing to do with what you have or have not done up to this point in your life, has nothing to do with your age, your sex, your race, your religion, your neighborhood, your location, your geographical location. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with your ability to grant yourself permission and access, unlimited access to your greatest dreams and aspirations without judging them, without censorship, without fear. You have to go there fully commit, because it's a conversation between you and you. Nobody else can hear this, okay? Nobody's listening in. I want you to be unabashed and bold in your declaration. So I'm sitting at the time with a almost worthless college degree in possession. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm working as a substitute teacher, soon to be working as a full-time teacher in elementary school. So I'm not making any money. And I'm also working a second job at the ethnic art store at the mall, African artwork. One of my good friends from Senegal gave me a job. So I'm working there, and I'm sitting with myself after having some conversations and really doing what I'm asking you all to do, like sitting with what is my dream. And once I figured out, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to tell stories as an actor, as an artist. I want to be an actor, okay? Now understand, I gave myself permission to dream, and to dream big for this particular dream. I didn't know, I never asked myself, like, well, how am I going to do it before making the commitment? So I committed first, I created second. A lot of people, the reason they short circuit their ability to speak their truest dream is because they get tripped up in the weeds of the how. They start thinking about the how before they even get to the fully realized vocalization of their dream. And because of that, they start to already cut corners and maybe instead of playing at Carnegie Hall as my real dream, I would like to play at the local community theater, even though their real dream is to play at Carnegie Hall, okay? So they don't even give themselves permission to speak what's in their heart, because they already start thinking, well, how am I going to get to Carnegie Hall? I'm in Kentucky, and only the people in my church and congregation said I could sing, right? So they automatically start looking for a way to downsize the dream. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I gave myself permission to embrace the fully realized vision of the dream. It's my dream. And I'm not talking to anybody else about it. It's between me and me. This is why it's so important for you to be bold, unabashed, unapologetic, unashamed, to claim it, right? To speak it to you in front of a mirror, in your bathroom, in your backyard. I don't care where you do it. But watch this. Because I made that declaration and commitment, it didn't matter that I had no prior acting experience. It didn't matter that I was considered a late bloomer. That was in my 20s when I made that decision. It didn't matter that no one in my family had any relation to the entertainment business. It didn't matter that I had no access to any persons in my life that had experience and were working full time in the entertainment industry. None of that mattered. Only thing that mattered was that I had a dream that I was clear about, and I made that declaration, and I was all about it, all about it. I never asked how. I didn't worry about that at the moment. At the moment, I made the commitment. I'm telling you, the only reason, now listen to me very carefully, you could not have said to me at the time that I had that dream and I owned it. I said, this is what I want to do. This is mine. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. You could not have said to me, well, listen, Ed, because you've made this commitment and that decision, You're literally going to be working and sitting at the feet of a two-time Pulitzer Prize winning playwright, one of the greatest playwrights of our time, a playwright who's so great that he has a Broadway theater named after him. First Black playwright to have a Broadway theater named after him. You're going to be sitting at his feet. He's going to tell you stories of how he came into his skill and craft as a playwright. He's going to teach you about what the word autodidact means. Autodidact. He's going to help you take your art to a different level. Ed, you're going to get to know that playwright because you're going to get cast by his #1 director. Okay? They don't want to see you for the part that you want to audition for. The reason they don't want to see you is because they look at you and they think, well, that's more of a leading man. He's not really a character actor because of the way you look. They don't want to, they're not even going to let you audition. They're not going to let you audition. Well, they didn't understand, you all. I had a dream. And there was no earthly force that was going to get in my way. And you all know I got in that room. They did not want to even let me audition. They weren't even going to give me a shot. They didn't think I was anywhere near right for the very role that led to me having a working relationship with one of the greatest playwrights of all time. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm letting you know the only reason that I ended up from this small little niche of Cleveland, Ohio, and no reference point to working hand in hand with one of the greatest playwrights of all time in a starring role in his play, because #1, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. You're going to see me for this audition. And when I get in there to audition, I'm going to do it to such a level, you're going to be like, well, we can't cast nobody else in this role. It's got to be him. They went from, we don't want to see you because you ain't even right for this, to we can't cast nobody else but him. You understand what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the power when you have a dream and you don't get caught up in the weeds of the how, okay? So once you make that decision, understand there are levels to the dream, okay? Levels to the dream. Some people have a dream of, I would love to just look in the mirror and not nitpick at my body and not talk down to myself about my body image. I would love to look in the mirror and love every part of what I see. For some people, that is a big dream because maybe they've been struggling with their body image their whole life. Maybe they have been inundated with all of these airbrushed images of stick figures on the covers of magazines, and they have adopted that image as the image of beauty. And even though they'll never be a stick figure, they feel some type of way because they've only seen stick figures on all the magazines in the checkout aisles every other week when they go to the grocery store or whatever, okay? For some people, that's a dream. That's a big dream. Somebody else may say, my dream is to be a stay-at-home parent and a spouse, whether it's husband or wife. That's my dream, to have a wonderful family. Because for them, it's a big dream because they don't come from that. It's a big dream because they never saw that. They grew up in chaos and destruction. They grew up without one or both parents. They grew up without that kind of stability, love, and nurturing. So for them, this is the Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl, just to have a loving home. It's all good. Someone else says, I wanna have a company that impacts over 50 million households. I want to create a product that at least 1/3 of the planet wants to consume. So their dream has to do with masses of people being touched by an idea or a product. That's their big dream. That's their Super Bowl. So ladies and gentlemen, there's no right or wrong dream to have. It's yours. So Bill Gates, what did he say? We want to have a computer on every desk in every home. Easily and articulated, very clear vision. And that was his dream. That's what he wanted. We want to have a computer on every desk in every home. And that's what drove him obsessively. But that was his. That's not yours. That was his. So it's not a right or wrong. And I told you, maybe it was the last week or the week before, I had someone say to me, I want to be a billionaire. And I'm like, well, why? Like, where are you getting this from? You're not even a multiple 100,000-aire. You're talking about you want to be a billionaire. Why? For what? You don't even have a product that can be consumed to that level. You're not even doing anything. You're not doing anything career-wise that would create that result. You're very talented at what you do. You make very good money at what you do. But if this is how you think you're going to become a billionaire, it's not going to happen. So I never understood I don't understand when people say that. I understand it's cute, the song, I want to be a billionaire, so freaking bad. Like, I love that song. It's a fun song, right? It's a fun song. But really, like, who says that? How many billionaires do you know who started off saying their first dream was, I want to be a billionaire? I've never heard that. Never heard it. Never heard Oprah say, I want to be a billionaire. Like, that was my dream. I never heard Sam Walton, founder of Walmart. His book, there's nothing in his book where he's like, I had a dream of being a billionaire. Nothing in his book. Bill Gates, I've never heard him say this in any documented interviews. Warren Buffett, he never talked about it, because Warren Buffett didn't start, getting to the other stratosphere until the second half of his life. He was over 50. So think about that, okay? In terms of knowing and understanding that whatever your dream is yours. And there's levels to the size and the scope of it. But here's why I believe it has to be a big dream, okay? It's got to be a big dream. Why? Because if it's not a big dream, you're not going to be able to understand all of what's inside of you. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to tap root into what's inside of you. So I'll tell you, and I'll give you another example of how that works. So the dreams that I have are always centered around greatness and impact. Greatness and impact. So if I say, when I wanted to be an actor, I said, I want to be a great actor. I want to be able to walk into a room and own the room. I want to know that when I go to audition for this particular role, that when I leave, they're going to remember what I did. I didn't care if I got hired or not. I just knew that when I walked into that situation, I had to own it and do the work that I came to do. I never ever said, I want to make a lot of money as an actor. I never ever said, I want to be famous. I never ever said, I want to be a star. My focus was to be a great working actor, period. That was it, okay? Now, the word great means I have to be able to separate myself from the masses. And I'm telling you all right now, you can't work consistently as an actor unless you're able to separate yourself. Is luck involved? Damn Skippy is yes, for sure. Preparation and hard work and luck all work hand in hand, tandem, okay? Secondly, when you have a big dream, it challenges you to become an advocate. It challenges you to become a purveyor of the messaging that puts your dream forward, that moves it into the world. And you can't impact other people without that, okay? So Jamila's in the healthcare space. So she is taking care of, she is healing. If she didn't aspire to greatness, imagine the number of lives that she would not be able to impact if she were mediocre. Because if she were mediocre, she wouldn't have these giant entities buying for her services, wanting her here. You know, she's giving me some updates and she's like, they want me to go here. They want me to, like, they want her in all these different locations. Why? Because she's made herself invaluable, because she strives and wants to be great in what she does. She's seeking mastery in what she does. So when you have a big dream, there's a big demand on you. Big dream doesn't necessarily mean you have to want to be a gazillionaire. It's not just money. It's the level of greatness that you aspire to and the type of impact that you want to have. So you may say, Ed, I want to be great as a parent. Okay, well, you better start studying, because there's a way to communicate with your children, depending upon what age they are, in order to get the best out of them and to understand their come from. There's levels to this. So you got to study the behavioral patterns of children. There's books written on this. How do you communicate to your kids their greatness and how to reach for that? How do you coach them up? So there's a lane for you to be great in, but you got to study up. You got to learn and really dive deep into that. I want to be a great spouse. Well, many of you have heard the book, The 5 Love Languages. Before I read that book, I was just missing a lot of stuff. I was not communicating in a way that my partner wanted me to communicate with them in. That one book opened up an entire new level to my ability to be a better partner to her, right? Well, if I didn't want to be great, I never would have taken the time to read the book. It befuddles me when people are in relationships and they will, you know, I don't know why they're coming to me. Maybe I mean, I'm learning a little something now. I got a little experience. I got 10 years under my belt, but you know, I've never been married, so they still come to me and ask me these questions. So I'm like, they'll come to me and I'm like, well, you know, is your partner willing to do some reading? Is your partner willing to get some third party, you know, objective feedback and counseling? No, they're not. Wow. Well, that blows my mind. So you're not willing to work on the relationship is not good, but you have someone that's not willing to do the work, right? That's someone who doesn't aspire to greatness. That's someone that doesn't have a big dream when it comes to how they show up for their families and their partner, their spouse. So the size, having a big dream is important. Small dream is something you could do by yourself. A big dream is something where you need other people. You understand? So if you notice, when I talk about greatness, if I don't read the book written by Chapman, that's somebody else that I have to draw from in order to be better in my relationship, okay? I want to be a better parent. I got to draw from other people and their experiences and have conversations with my elders who've been married for 45, 50 years. They got 15 grandchildren. They're on their second or third round of children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Talk to me about this parenting thing. What was your philosophy on that? Getting insight. You have to draw upon other people when you want to be great, when you have a big dream or a big goal. The other part of it is you have to serve something greater than yourself. So if you got a small dream, right? If you have let's say you have someone says, well, I have a dream of Ed, I want to be able to run a mile. Well, see, that's not really a dream, because that's 100% doable. A dream is something where you're like, I have no idea how the hell I'm going to do this. Like, I don't even know this is doable. Like, I didn't know if it was doable for me to be a full-time working actor living in New York. I didn't know. I was willing to risk failure in doing that, okay? But me being able to fully commit to it, and because it was so big, and because I had to draw upon so many other people and their experiences and learn from their mistakes and learn from their insights, it galvanized all of these forces. And there were people coming my way that I couldn't see coming, right? They were coming because of the energy that I was putting out, but they were coming my way because of the size and scope of my dream. There's something that happens spiritually where the universe starts to align and they're like, yo, this woman is on a mission. I mean, she's not stopping. She's fully committed. She's crazy. Like she just is completely obsessed. She can't send out any other signal from her receiving and sending station that other than what she wants to do. We need to start sending some stuff back. Okay. That's just the way it works. All of you have had the experience of being so myopic in your focus and so obsessed with a particular outcome that you get it done, it happens, and then you look back and you're like, how did I do that? Like, I can't believe I did that. Like you're amazed because you cannot logically explain everything that took place in order for you to hit that goal, in order for you to make that thing happen. Talk to any parent, especially if you're a single parent, talk to any parent that has created a miracle for their child. Talk to any business owner, entrepreneur who has come out on the other side and had some wins, had some successes. You know, they've taken losses, but they've had wins and successes. They'll all tell you, yeah, there were definitely times where I didn't know how we were going to get it done, but we were so fired up and committed. We were so focused on who we could serve, who we could impact. It was so much bigger than just me that we were able to get it done, but I can't explain all of it. Okay. So that's the power when you have a big dream, because it's bigger than you. You're doing it for a greater purpose, a greater cause. So imagine, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when, and I challenge any of you to do this week. Have a conversation with someone who, when you look in their eyes, there's no light or excitement. There's no drive. There's no fire. Look in their eye, you could tell. And ask them, just take a couple of moments. You might be in line at the grocery store, post office. How you doing today? I'm all right. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing, actually, that's not true. I'm doing phenomenally well. It's crazy. Like this, it's amazing how well I'm doing. I guarantee you the first response is going to be like, oh, well, wow, I haven't heard that before. Or wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. I guarantee you, wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. Well, what are you on? What are you smoking? What are you drinking? Right? That's going to be the first response. Then you ask them, so you look like whatever you do for a living, like you really are fantastic at it and you really love it. No matter what they're giving you here, just say that and watch and listen to what they say. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, I don't know about all that. Well, I don't know if I love it. I mean, it pays the bills, or, I'm looking for another job. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10. Why? Because most people, they don't have a dream. They don't have a dream. Because they've forgotten how. They've given up because they've been in survival mode for so long that they believe, because you are what you repeatedly do, by the way. You are what you repeatedly do. So that same person that I'm talking about, they may be in a job that they don't like. They may be in a job that they actually hate. But if they have a dream, their answer is going to be very different. Well, no, what you're sensing from me is I'm excited because I'm working a job that I hate because I'm going after a dream that I love. And the job that I hate is giving me the resources to pursue the dream that I love. And soon, one day, the dream is going to replace the job. So what you're getting from me is I'm on a dream quest. How many times have you ever had somebody tell you that? How many times have you ever had a conversation in line and had somebody talk to you like that? Probably never. Why? Because most people have forgotten how to dream. They're not doing it. And even if they have a dream, it's not a big one. Imagine what you can drum up in your life and in your experience when you have a dream and it's a big one. So for those of you that have a dream, right, you raised your hand at the beginning of the call. Is it a big dream? Is there another level that you could ascend to or reach for? Is there something maybe you've been not fully like, okay, like you see that there's more you could shoot for. You may have an idea that's never even been thought of or talked about in your space, but maybe that idea is in here and you haven't given yourself permission to go there yet. So allowing yourself to go to that next level, what would happen? Like to dig deep. What would happen if you did that? Giving yourself permission. So I'm asking you just to challenge. I had a dream and it evolved. So then after being on more than 70 stages, doing live theater, Broadway, off-Broadway, regional, international theater, after doing multiple television guest spots, a series of films, I said, after some coaxing from Mr. Les Brown, I've told you all that story before, I had a new dream. I said, man, I want to impact and tell stories, but I want them to be my words, not someone else's. I want to create an experience for people, but I want it to come from things that I think of as a aspiring thought leader. I want to be a dynamic speaker, right? But I want it to be great. So 100 presentations later, for free, by the way, because I knew I had to get my reps in and learn and understand how do I communicate? How do I know what I want to say? Many of you, not many of you, but many people have asked me, hey, can you help me with this speech? Like, what do I do? Do I write it all out, Ed? Like, do I have note cards? Like, how do you get on stage and you do all that stuff and you don't ever have any notes? Like, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, I mean, I've done thousands of them at this point, but I remember what it was at the very beginning. So the dream was, I want to be a great speaker. I want to tell stories that can really open up people's possibilities and expand the vision they have for themselves and their lives. And having that as a starting point, as a dream, and literally being in a brownstone on St. John's Place in Brooklyn, New York, and having a small tape recorder and recording myself, putting the tape recorder in the corner. I had one plant next to the futon, and the plant was there, recorder was here, the futon was there, and I was speaking to looking at the plant and having the tape recorder recording it. And I did that over and over again because I wanted to understand what's my pacing, what's my volume, how's my energy sound, am I being articulate, can I understand what I'm saying, am I feeling what I'm saying, does it make sense what I'm saying, is there a beginning, middle, and end, am I taking you somewhere, are you going to know what to do after I'm done, and doing that over and over and over again to an audience of a plant, to being on a stage in front of 22,000 people in the Orlando Convention Center, from an apartment on a brownstone in St. John's Place to 22,000 at the Orlando Convention Center. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens when you have a dream that's big. When you're aspiring to greatness, because greatness doesn't have anything to do with how someone else is going to affirm or not affirm you. That'll take care of itself. I never said I want to be on a stage in front of thousands of people. Never had that in my mind. What I said was, I want to tell stories that create an experience that can give people a larger vision of themselves. When I was speaking for the Habitat for Humanity, and I was speaking for people that had just lost their homes because of Hurricane Katrina in the 9th Ward in New Orleans, and there was an audience of 12. When I would go to homeless shelters and there was an audience of 15, half of them were going through withdrawal because of drug addiction. Most homeless people, as you know, are dealing with mental illness and addictions. And there's people in the audience and they ain't got no teeth. They haven't bathed in many days, weeks, and months. And I'm speaking to them about greater possibilities. What are you talking about? How would I even go or think about going from a homeless shelter to the Orlando Convention Center, or speaking in Bangkok, Thailand? or speaking in Athens, Greece, or speaking in Durban, South Africa, or speaking in Tel Aviv, Israel. I didn't have any of that. I focused on being great. And what I'm saying to you is this: have a dream, cultivate that vision, and challenge yourself on the size of the impact that you can create, the reach that you can reach for, and you'll be amazed at where it can take you, at the lives that you'll be able to touch, because you gave yourself permission to be unabashed, unapologetic, unreserved. And the dream that's yours is for you. It's between you and you. And then you go about getting after it with everything that you have, not getting caught in the weeds of the how. And then you check the levels. You got to keep checking the levels. Am I really leveling up, or am I allowing the mediocre masses to have me downplaying on the size and scope of my dream? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not surrounded by other dreamers, people that aspire to greatness, people that live and want greatness, they wake up with it, they have that same level of obsession for greatness, it's hard to always be self-generating. It's hard. It's doable. It's just hard. I like being around other individuals that aspire to greatness, to have their own dreams, and we can rub off of each other. That's why we come here. That's why we spend a few minutes here. So we went over a little bit today because I started late, but I appreciate you all hopping on. Whatever dream you have, get after it. If you know you can ratchet it up a little bit, challenge yourself a little bit more, please do, because it's amazing what can come from you and when you're pursuing it. And I'm excited to hear about your dreams. I'm excited to hear about your progress. I'm excited to hear about your discoveries on this journey that is unique to you. So have an awesome and amazing week. We'll see you guys same time, same station next week. You can bring friends, bring family members, bring colleagues, promote and share the call as you get it. Let people know that we're going to be here. We're going to keep making it do what it do. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Ed.
Thank
Bye,
you, Ed.
everyone.
Thank you.
You got it.